After months of digging into the Biden's past, U.S. Republicans announced a major escalation
to open a formal impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden
over some major allegations
of abuse of power, obstruction, and corruption.
While Democrats rally around their leader,
we will defend President Biden until the very end.
Americans brace for yet another political showdown. So is this impeachment process based on evidence or politics? To break that down, we're joined by Alex Panetta and Todd Zwillich from Vice News. And Alex, let's start with you. In a nutshell, what's the case the Republicans are making here for impeaching U.S. President Joe Biden?
So to answer your first question, the answer is both. There's smoke around Joe Biden and around his family, but no fire yet. I mean, to quote an old Hollywood movie title, you could call this impeachment process the quest for fire. Because here's what we know and what we don't know. One, we know the president made statements that were at best untruthful, and at worst, he lied when he said his son never drew foreign money from China and other places, and when he said he never talked business with his son. Two, we know his son did, in fact, get lots of money from abroad, including from some pretty shady characters. A couple of his business partners were accused and convicted of corrupting public officials. A third was accused of corruption in China, and he went missing there. He'd been close to the government in Beijing. We now know that Joe Biden repeatedly met some of his son's business partners. And by the way, Hunter Biden never registered as a foreign lobbyist, which is potentially a crime. Now, number three, here's where things get hazy. We know there are allegations, and I repeat, allegations, that Joe Biden got some of this money. The most incendiary allegation of all comes from an anonymous informant to the FBI who says he heard from someone that Joe Biden got some of this money corruptly when he was vice president, and it influenced policy making on Ukraine. Now, here's what we don't know. We don't know whether any of this stuff, the stuff involving Joe Biden, is real. After all, I mean, he's the guy who matters here. His troubled son is not the president. None are his other relatives who did foreign paid work. He is the president. So we don't know whether there are any grounds whatsoever to impeach him. And now they're investigating and looking for that proverbial fire.
All right, Todd, weigh in. What's your assessment of the evidence?
I'm a little less sanguine about the smoke and fire analogy there. There definitely is some evidence that Hunter Biden has behaved inappropriately overseas. There's no question about that. But it is also true that Hunter Biden can't be impeached and Hunter Biden's not the president. There are specific allegations, I should say specific innuendo that Republicans are using now as they start this impeachment inquiry around Joe Biden. One is that he took bribes. He's corrupt and he took bribes. They have produced no evidence to back that up. The other is that he executed U.S. policy as vice president, particularly in Ukraine, to benefit his son's business dealings. And there's no evidence of that either. There just isn't. Republicans have been investigating this for about 9 months, and they haven't come up with that. And you can see it in the language that they use on Capitol Hill and elsewhere when they talk about some of the smoke that admittedly is around the sun. Oh, there is around the sun. They say payments to the Biden family. Did you know the Biden family has taken this money? Did you know the Biden family got millions of dollars from overseas? You always hear that qualifier, that caveat, the family. When it comes to Joe Biden himself, which is ostensibly what one would want to show or prove in order to show a high crime or a misdemeanor, which is in the Constitution for impeachment, they haven't produced that evidence. They just haven't.
Alex, take us behind the politics here then. We heard what you think about the evidence. What's in this for the Republicans politically?
Yeah, well, bashing Joe Biden is the glue that binds together the Republican Party. And these days, Republicans are desperately in need of a bonding agent because the caucus in Congress risks cracking apart. And it turns out the glue is impeachment, or at least an impeachment investigation. Remember, Republicans have the smallest majority in Congress, just 5 seats in the House. And Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker, has a tenuous and fragile grasp on his speakership. If he loses a few votes, he loses power. And it's all coming to a head right now. He faces his biggest test, because his party needs to pass a budget, and that process is completely stalled. They can't even pass the easy parts of a budget, like defense funding. And there could be a government shutdown in 2 weeks. And so they're all fighting each other about a whole bunch of issues, including funding for Ukraine. So what does McCarthy do? He says, hey, guys, let's work together and go after Joe Biden. It's basically, he promises an impeachment investigation in exchange for budget votes. Now, you might say this is a weird way to run a lemonade stand. But behind that, there's real political pressure. Many Republican politicians want McCarthy to do this, and they're feeling the pressure because much of their base voters wants this. And when you look behind at those base voters, they're being whipped up by the man behind the curtain, the real leader of the Republican Party, Donald Trump. Trump is threatening to primary Republicans who failed to impeach. And the reason Trump wants this is, think ahead to the next election. Trump faces 91 criminal charges so far, and he wants to be able to say to voters, look at Biden. He wants voters talking about Biden's misdeeds, not his own. So if you're looking for the political reasoning, it starts with Donald Trump right there and moves on to the grassroots, to the members of the party in the Congress, and ultimately onto the party leader, Kevin McCarthy. And that's why McCarthy folded this week and broke his own promise to take a slower approach on impeachment.
Todd, we know from Canada looking towards the United States how it is a polarized country. It is a country where a lot of people spend time hearing things within an echo chamber fed by their favorite, all news channel. How do you think this impeachment process, though it may not end with success from the Republican standpoint, how it's going to play within that echo chamber of either all Republicans or at least Trump Republicans?
Well, I think they've already shown that there's precedent for this. There's precedent for the dynamic that was just very ably described, which I agree with, by the way, from Republicans. Look, Republicans have been saying since before they were elected, since at least August of 2022, months before they were elected to run this House, that they were going to be trying to impeach Joe Biden. They said they were always going to do this, according to them, and now they're doing it. It's revenge. For Donald Trump. He was impeached twice, and he wants to make sure he's not the only guy. But there is precedent for how this plays in a media that winds up covering a political race that's ultimately between two parties, ultimately between two guys. The media tends to cover the story as just kind of an equal race among equals, and you can exploit that if you know how to do it. The precedent is Benghazi. Remember the Benghazi investigation in 2015, right before the 2016 election? The target of that investigation was the Democratic nominee, Hillary Clinton. And Kevin McCarthy himself in 2015 tanked his own first shot at being Speaker because he went in front of a camera and was asked about the utility of an investigation that really, in the end, didn't produce much evidence against Hillary Clinton. And he said, what do you mean? It was a big success. Look how we tanked her poll numbers. He said it himself, and it helped make him not Speaker back then. And that's the precedent here. What Republicans are relying on so far, without the direct evidence so far that we've discussed, is they're relying on a media that covers this story. On the one hand, you're going to be hearing a great deal of sworn oath in court testimony about Donald Trump's alleged criminality between now and the election. He may be a convicted felon on election day. And what Republicans need is for the average voter to say, yeah, Trump's corrupt, but both guys are corrupt. They need enough innuendo, enough smoke, enough coverage of both sides of a scandal between now and then to just taint Joe Biden with the idea that he's just as corrupt as Donald Trump, because that's Donald Trump's main liability. He may well be a convicted felon. So they're really relying on sort of media biases. And I don't mean political biases. I mean biases of political coverage that treat unequal things equally because, hey, we're just neutral, not truthful, to make this strategy succeed.
I can genuinely say I better understand all of this than I did 8 minutes ago. So thanks to both of you for breaking it down.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
1 year after the death of a young Iranian woman sparked widespread protests across Iran, the push for change continues.
This is a marathon, not a sprint.
Ellen Morrow breaks down the state of the uprising and hopes for the future. Next. Scenes of outrage over Mahsa Amini's death at the hands of Iran's morality police last September. A brutal government crackdown has since cleared Iran's streets, but 1 year after Amini's death, activists remain defiant.
The regime is desperate. They're losing control. Iranian people will bring this regime down.
But inside the country, that defiance now comes with caution as Iran's dreaded morality police return in force. Ellen Morrow breaks down how the country has changed since the protests and how it hasn't.
It's been a year since protests erupted across Iran. The world was watching at the time, and this is why you shouldn't look away now. first, let's go back to the death of Mahsa Amini in the custody of Iran's so-called morality police, arrested for wearing her hijab or headscarf too loosely. Outraged Iranians took to the streets for months, a movement led by women and young people. Their demands for women's freedom and democratic change met with a brutal crackdown. Hossein Nouri Niku was there. Regime security forces, he says, fired on protesters, hitting him in the eye with lead pellets. 25 years old, he's now partially blind. I am full of rage that the Islamic Republic clings to power, he tells me, but the anger is stronger than ever, and for certain this government will fall. Maybe, but not yet. Still, look closely at the streets of Tehran now. Emboldened by the protests, more women are rejecting the headscarf, going about their daily lives without it, even though that's still very much illegal. They can't impose it like before, the student says. The number of people who don't obey is too high now.
The new phase of the revolution is women practicing their civil disobedience.
Mahsa Amini is a well-known activist who fled Iran during unrest in 2009.
I don't think that we need to see people in the street. We need to see bloodshed in the street to understand that the uprising is still on.
But none of this means a loosening up from Iran's clerical rulers. Ahead of the protests' anniversary, they've been cracking down again. Dozens of women's rights activists, even relatives of protesters who were killed, have been arrested in recent weeks. Businesses supporting optional hijab have been harassed by authorities. Surveillance cameras have been installed to identify unveiled women, these two attacked by a man dumping yogurt on them. And the morality police, after a while laying low, they're back on patrol. Iran is also getting ready to harden its religious laws with the so-called hijab and chastity bill, denounced by the UN as gender apartheid. For those women not wearing their headscarves, it could mean up to 10 years in prison.
There's this kind of renewed conflict or renewed crackdown from the state in response to this ongoing civil disobedience. What would you say about that?
I believe the regime is desperate. They're losing control, and that's why they're trying to use restrictive laws and punish women more.
Iran was once a secular society before the Islamic Revolution of 1979. Since then, there have been waves of protests against the regime and its strict interpretation and enforcement of Islam.
This is a marathon, not a sprint.
Maral Karimi wrote a book on Iran's Green Movement, a mass protest in 2009 in response to a disputed presidential election.
There is quite a cynical way of looking at this, and it would be there were months and months of protests, and here we are a year later, the regime still exists.
It might not have changed the regime as many hoped for last year. However, it's slowly building up the resistance in the society. That's how lasting change, in my belief, happens.
Despite everything, part of what gives activists that hope is that the Woman Life Freedom protests, as they became known, were the largest in more than a decade, bringing together more sections, they say, of Iranian society. They also inspired solidarity rallies around the world. Women cutting their hair, an act of protest to support those risking their lives in Iran.
Something has broken the fear and the silence of the people.
Shahrzad Mojab was an activist in Tehran in the early days of the Islamic Republic.
What kind of emotions does this anniversary bring up for you and this ongoing struggle that you've been a part of for so long?
This movement has revived me, revived my hope. It's a very important global event that we cannot ignore.
The protests were about women's rights abuses and so much more. There's a lot for Iranians to be angry about. An economy in shambles and getting worse, a growing climate crisis, their country isolated, and harsher laws on the horizon. All these potential sparks remain a year later, and more mass protests could be just a matter of time.
The next phase of the revolution is when people are getting ready to get back to the streets. And trust me, next wave will be much heavier.
Ellen, Saturday marks the one-year anniversary of Mahsa Amini's death. Given how brutally the regime cracked down on protesters, are we expecting any demonstrations?
Well, some of the sources I spoke with, Ian, do think we'll see people out on the streets in Iran on Saturday, despite the regime ramping up its repression. There are already reports that a heavy security presence has been deployed to Mahsa Amini's hometown ahead of the anniversary. Her uncle was one of those arrested. Her father was reportedly warned by authorities not to commemorate the anniversary of his daughter's death. So the people I spoke with described this as an anxious moment. Despite that anxiety, though, what struck me about everyone I interviewed for this story and past stories on this protest movement is their resilience. You hear that in the piece, and their belief that change will eventually come to Iran, regardless of everything the regime does to try to stop it.
All right, Ellen, thank you.
You're welcome.
Coming up, a terrifying walk in the woods.
Internally, I was quite nervous.
Keep walking, nice and slow.
A group of hikers followed by a pair of grizzly bears. That's next in our moment. A group of tourists were out for a hike through Banff National Park on Tuesday when the tension suddenly ratcheted up because a pair of grizzlies joined the tour. Only 15 meters behind, the predators trailed the hikers for an excruciating 20 minutes. Staying cool in the face of danger is our moment.
Coming this way. Coming this way.
Wow. We were going on a hike around Constellation Lakes, and one of my guests noticed some rustling in the trees and then shouted out that they had spotted two big grizzly bears coming out of the bush.
Oh my Lord.
It seemed like it was one mum and one cub. Internally, I was quite nervous, but I also felt prepared.
Keep walking. All right, guys, keep walking.
They were following us for a good 15 to 20 minutes, and they ranged between 10 and 20 meters nearly the entire time. The baby one did do a few quick runs, which may have just been what we call a bluff charge. But from my training and everything, I know that is a normal thing, and the best thing to do is, of course, to stay calm.
Keep walking, nice and slow.
Knowledge-wise, I knew exactly what I should be doing, but it is different than to put it into action. We got to the Constellation Lake, and we all kind of just watched in awe, getting our breath back from what had just happened, which was pretty intense. And I gave them a lot more information on bears and about bear spray as well, and how you should actually use it and carry it around the national park if you're ever hiking. So it was definitely a good learning process for everybody.
I mean, that is scary even to watch. So I Googled, what do you do if grizzlies are following you? And it says to turn and speak at them in a calm voice. And if they still keep following you, you're supposed to walk backwards, still talking. And if they still follow you, this says be offensive. Not sure what that means. Maybe recite George Carlin, 7 words you can't say on TV. Not sure. Anyway, that is The National. For September 15th, I hope you join me Sunday for a cross-country checkup on CBC Radio and CBC News Network, and later that night right here for The National. Have a safe Saturday.